Talo Falava everyone, Malo Lava Le Langi Mama. I'm standing at the front of the conference centre and I just wanted to quickly explain the whole conference in a nutshell. Just to quickly explain what sustainable development is and this whole Rio+20 conference. Now, just as an analogy that's easier for us to understand, sustainable development could be perceived like, just imagine your mum and her creating your favorite dish, maybe sapasui or wharai elengi or bisup or whatever you guys have. And so she's prepared this big dish of food. So sustainable development is the food representing the resources we have, the ecosystems, our oceans, our biodiversity, and it's a matter of sustaining it or ensuring longevity so it doesn't compromise the entitlements or the rights of future generations. So think of the food, you eat your food that you need, but you must make sure that there's enough food for dad who's coming back late from work or your brother that's at training. So it's all about not being greedy. It's just not being greedy with the resources we have and ensuring that future generations have entitlements or have access rather to what we have right now. That's sustainable development. So in 1992, over 189 presidents and prime ministers came to this country and they wanted to sort out a framework or some type of strategy in ensuring that we sustain everything while progressing our individual economies and countries. So that's the conference in a nutshell. It's really not being greedy and really just sort of, for us as youth, it's really to convey and argue on behalf of future generations, intergenerational justice and social justice and those kind of things. I just wanted to quickly explain also the Millennium Development Goals and climate change conferences, or the COP17 that I also participated in. In 2010, I travelled with 9 other youth to represent New Zealand and New York. We had a Millennium Development Goals Summit. Now, this term you may not be aware of, but Millennium Development Goals essentially are 8 targets that the United Nations, all the countries in the world, have set to meet by 2015. So by halving the population of those who are poverty, earning less than $1.25 a day, ensuring general global primary education system, improving maternal health, improving child mortality, and all these different sanitation, all these different goals that we have a target of 2015. So Millennium Development Goals, that's really important, something to think about. The other crucial pillar within the United Nations is climate change, and COPs and the COP conferences, the CMP, which are the conference of the meeting of parties, and also the conference of parties. And this is really crucial given that climate change for us in the Pacific is not just an issue but a reality. Climate change, essentially, you might hear of the terms global warming, you may hear of emissions and things like that. So it's really a man-made or human problem, and with a human problem like that, we can only create human solutions to address it. So we all have emissions, every country emits. The Pacific, we are the less emitters, and yet we are the ones being targeted or being affected by such emissions. And so the carbon dioxide, I'm not a scientist, but the science says that carbon dioxide builds up, the earth is warming, and so in effect we see sea levels rising, we see salinization of soil, which affects our agriculture, we see stronger natural disasters like in 2009 with Samoa and the tsunamis, we see millions die. Food shortages, water shortages, and everything like that. So that's the climate change aspect. So in summary, I've just outlined 3 main ideas. The first was sustainable development, why I'm here right now. Sustainable development is about not being greedy, not eating the whole bowl of sapasui and not making sure there's enough for dad who's coming back from work or your brother at training or something like that. That's sustainable development. The second one I tried to explain was the Millennium Development Goals, the 8 targets that were set in the year 2000. We have a deadline of 2015, 5 more years. That ranges from the environmental sustainability to education to combating HIV/AIDS and other diseases and things like that. And then thirdly, I was just trying to explain the climate change aspect of global warming and the natural calamities that we're coming across at the moment. So hopefully this short description or synopsis will benefit you, just to provide some context as to why I've traveled to New York, South Africa, and now here in Brazil. But I thank you all so much. Paftai lava le tapo inga, ia vi ia pele atua me uma lava wa whai ai, ia sanga fisoswani mailo na nganga ia te au, awa o nao se au na vai vai, le nei tangata whaatau waa. Ai au te vi ia pele atua I lona lofa ma lona anga leia te i tātou uma. So I fua mai e manuia, paftai.